Hey, I want to welcome you to the core. This is the Mezzanine message wrap up. We are wrapping up the message preached on June 20th, Father's Day. And you can find all our messages on mz9.org. That's where you can download our podcast for free. But this week's message was taken from Luke chapter 15, and it was a message about Jesus. Jesus was being criticized by the Pharisees, which were the religious men and women of that day who seemed to live to pick on Jesus for everything that he did, which is to us as believers crazy because we know Jesus is our example. But what they were really picking on him about was his relationship with what they called sinners. Well, Jesus flipped the table on them, and he really let them know that sinners were the lost sons and daughters of his Father God. And so, David, as we got into that message and talked about some different things, what really stood out to you and kind of stuck in your mind that we can wrap up this message with?
I thought it was neat that when the Pharisees were criticizing Jesus, Jesus really didn't defend himself. He didn't say, "Oh, look who I am." Actually, he said, "You know what?" And he tells three parables about what his Father's heart, what his Father's will is. And that made me start thinking. I was like, man, Jesus didn't even take time to defend himself because he realized, you know what, that it's what the Father's will is what's most important. And that's for, like how you said, the lost or the unsaved. And to me, reaching out to them was what I walked away with.
So basically, it's the Father's heart. It's not David's heart. It's not Matt's heart. We get our lives, we get our heart wrapped around God's will, and we get on board with God's heart for the lost. And that's all that Jesus was actually doing. It said that he would welcome sinners and he ate with them. Okay? That was what he was doing to fulfill God's mission. Dave, what are some ways that we could fulfill that mission? I issued some challenges and gave some ideas. What are some ways that you think of, that you're thinking about, reaching out to that lost person, that lost son, that lost daughter? What are some ways?
Well, of course, my favorite way, invite someone to a life group.
Oh, yes.
I love the life groups.
And go to our website, mz9.org, for the list of life groups, too.
You will see them. There's 20 of them. They're awesome. Connect in. It's a wonderful place to extend, a time of fellowship with somebody else. Another way is to do like an act of kindness to them, like mow their yard or do some type of gesture like that. But we really encourage not to make it some mysterious random thing, but let them know you did it for them,
Like I could see you making nachos for somebody.
Yes.
That's your favorite meal to make.
They're amazing. Nachos are amazing.
And you're good at it.
I'm amazing at it.
Which I'm still waiting for
Well,
David's nachos.
Well, some lost are very lost.
Let's kind of just wrap this thing up. We have to have the attitude that God had. And, in the first story, he abandoned the 99 sheep. And he just went after that one sheep that was missing. I mean, that's just total abandonment. And the second story, the lady was willing to rip apart her house. I think, how long did she spend cleaning that house, taking care of that house, setting everything up? But I could just see her throwing clothes around and, knocking stuff over. And she was willing to just mess up all her work to find that lost coin. And then finally, the father, he was willing to, that must have been kind of hurtful for the son to say, "Peace out, Dad. I need my inheritance now." He was willing to lay down everything, his pride and all of that, for that lost son. What is our motivation? What's our final thing that just says, let's go for this? What do you think our motivation should be?
Our motivation should be able to connect with them and form a relationship so that we can tell them about God, so we can tell them about Jesus. That's the most important thing. Matter of fact, starting off the one summer, one salvation, you said one of your heart sets, the goals for this, what we're doing, is so that we can take time to change eternity for somebody and making that eternal difference, changing their life now and here and forever.
It takes that motivation, it takes that commitment on our part. Really, for God, it took love, and that works out in our life. And I want to encourage you to develop a love and a hunger to find what's lost and what's really important to God, and that is people. That is so important. That's everything to God, is you and me. And all of his children out there that are running around, acting crazy and quote unquote being sinners. To God, though, that's his daughter over there. That's his son that he absolutely is in love with. And he will give you strength to fulfill that mission. He will give you the courage. He will give you the ideas, the ability to reach out to what sometimes seems impossible. So anyway, want to encourage you as we wrap this core up to go and try to connect with somebody who's not a Christian, and then utilize that to preach the gospel to them. Anyway, thanks for listening to the core, and we hope to catch you next week here on our wrap up. Check you later.